and welcome to CRT 201. My name is Julia Westlake and I'm your instructor for this course. Or if you happen to be just joining me online, I might not be your instructor, but thanks for coming to my YouTube channel anyhow. So in this presentation, I'm going to give you an overview of what critical thinking is, some course expectations if you happen to be in my class, and some course policies. Now, in this first section, we're going to cover what is critical thinking, because you're probably wondering, why did I get put in this lame course, right? So let's figure that out. And hopefully, by the time I'm done with my 5-minute spiel, you won't think it's such a lame course. All right, so when you probably looked at your syllabus, it had something like the following phrases listed in it. This class is going to teach you how to determine what information is or is not pertinent. Draw connections between discrete sources of data and information. Avoid overstated conclusions. And I bet you were just tickled half to death and just jumping out of your chair with excitement like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to learn how to do this stuff. Well, those things may not have gotten you excited, but if you got to something that sounded like articulate the argument and context for the argument, it may sound boring, but you probably want those skills. And I will probably convince you that you want those skills by the end of our course, because that helps you to do things like, I don't know, get a raise, negotiate a car for lower, not be misunderstood by your friends and family. Now those are some skills that I want. At least I think I want, right? Now, this class for me, I can list off all the objectives that are listed in every course syllabus, and they all sound a lot like this. Wonderfully long, kind of boring statements. But what this class really boils down to is the following. How to get a job and keep it without driving your employer nuts, or how to be a boss who doesn't drive his or her employees nuts, and how to not drive your loved ones nuts. That's the real reason we have this class, because if you think about all these statements and what they're chalked up to, we're going to learn how to use information correctly and logically. We're going to learn how to make good decisions, and we're going to learn how to articulate those decisions to other people without being overly offensive. And that really boils down to life skills that you want to have, right? So I promise you, there will be a lot of vocabulary in this class that will seem like you need to go take a nap on top of the book because it's going to put you to sleep. And you may wish that osmosis could occur while taking that nap while sleeping on top of the book. However, I promise you I will try to make it as interesting as possible. I may use sarcasm as I am now, or I may use something a little more entertaining like comedy. I'm not above SNL skits. So there's lots to be learned, right? So what is critical thinking? Now that we know why we want to do it, what is it? Well, it boils down to really two main categories of things that involve a lot, but forming arguments, evaluating arguments. So forming arguments are like opinions that I want that are more than just pure opinions. They're based on some type of reality. And then there's evaluating arguments. Oh, so somebody wants to try and tell me I should believe what they're saying. How do I decide if I want to? Do I go with my gut? Or do I actually look at their information and make a decision? That's what critical thinking is all about. So my question to you is, and think about this throughout the course, which one is more important? It's kind of a rhetorical question, something we'll get to later in the course. Keep that catchphrase in mind. All right, so some basics. What is critical thinking? What is it not? This is where students get tripped up the first couple of weeks of class because I get all kinds of different answers on assignments from, oh, this is what an argument is, and that's what an argument is. Get it straight right now. Critical thinking has its own vocabulary. It's not what you think the word means half the time, so make sure you look it up. If it seems obvious, it's too obvious, so look it up. All right, what it's not. Critical thinking is not fighting. Just because the word critical's there does not mean we need to be meanie pants. All right, what else is it not? Forcibly disagreeing. We're not talking about how to have an argument and chase people off out of our lives. Remember the last couple slides back? We're wanting to make friends and make people like us, not chase them off. Insulting someone else. While you may do it while critically thinking, I'm not teaching you how to insult other people. That's a whole nother class. I could probably teach it, but not going to happen today. All right, being narrow-minded. Well, critical thinking is kind of the opposite of being narrow-minded because there's a step in the critical thinking process that requires you to kind of walk in the other guy's shoes. So definitely not being narrow-minded. Finding any and every way to win, 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 win all the time and always being right. You may want to always be right. And if you make logical choices and logical decisions and logical arguments, you may be right a lot of the time. Will you be right all the time? If you're me, maybe. I'm just teasing. No, we're not always right. I'm not going to protest that or profess that I'm going to make you always right. That's not going to happen, at least not in this lifetime. But I will give you the keys to be right, hopefully more than you're wrong, because you're going to be a consumer of education and a consumer of information, and you're going to critically think about the information you're presented in an educated manner. Now, what is it? What is critical thinking? It's a structured process through which we examine evidence, our own biases, and make a decision. Sometimes that decision is to do absolutely nothing, and that's okay. That's a decision in and of itself. Now, it's also allowing ourselves to see beyond our own situation and version of the truth. Notice I use those words carefully. And we're going to walk in someone else's shoes. We're going to take some different perspectives other than our own. This may be more challenging for some of you than others. If you have never walked in someone else's shoes, it may be a little uncomfortable at first, maybe a little smelly at first. I'm just kidding. We're going to take a proverbial walk in someone else's shoes. You don't actually need to wear them. Okay, what else? We're going to find out what separates well-considered decisions from impulse. So, yes, you can make gut decisions and sometimes they're really great and they work out wonderfully. Other times I make gut decisions they don't work out so well. Hopefully, you do the critical thinking process enough, it becomes like instinct, and then your gut is so well trained to go and critically think without you even acknowledging it, that your gut decisions suddenly become amazing. You become a rock star of critical thinking. But most of you are probably not to that point yet. It takes a while and practice. So hopefully your gut reaction to things is going to be more of a process that you may or may not really think about before you go through it. It may just become like second nature to you. Isn't what it isn't, but now we've got this class we've got to go through. I know that was a really fast teaser, but here's what you need to know about our class, and if you're in my class and I'm your instructor, these are things you want to know. If you're not in my class right now, just listening to me online, this is the point where you check out, because this stuff's going to bore you. Thanks for joining us, though. People that are in my class, yes, that's me, the devil. Yep, that's probably what you'll think of me after the first couple weeks. I'm just kidding. Really nice. I don't bite. But this class challenges you. This class I term as a boot camp for thinking. And that is painful for some people. But don't worry, if you stick with me, the class gets a great deal easier as we go. If you stick with it, if you implement what I tell you to do, if you follow directions, if you take feedback and you think it over and then implement it. However, the other reason I have a picture of the devil there, and it's a good likeness to me actually, I look just like that. I like to play devil's advocate, and that feeds right into our first little point here. We're going to talk about a lot of controversial things. You're going to share your opinions. Your classmates are going to share their opinions, but we all need to have respect. You could vehemently disagree with somebody else. That's perfectly fine. Does not mean you need to be mean. You can challenge them and challenge yourself to see their perspective and challenge them to see yours without being rude. And that's what we're going to practice. So one of the things I want you to get in the habit of, especially on the discussion boards, is reading your post out loud to yourself. Read it out loud to yourself, maybe read it out loud to someone else, and see if it sounds mean. If it sounds mean, reword it until it sounds less like you're giving someone a lecture and more like you're trying to understand them better or wanting them to understand you better. And that's the kind of phrasing that's going to get, kind of like you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar type of thing. You want people to come flocking to your ideas to consider them. You don't want to scare them off. However, me as the instructor, my job is to just be wicked. I am going to take the devil's advocate role. Oftentimes, I will take positions that are completely not in line with my own personal beliefs, and I will challenge you to think outside of the box. That's my job. That's what this class is all about. So I have gotten really good at playing both sides of the field, and no matter what you post, I probably have an opposite opinion for you to consider. Even if I completely agree with you, I will still have you consider something completely different than what you wrote. And that's my job, though. Don't take it personally, or do take it personally, because I'm caring enough about you to invest my time into making sure I disagree with you. So I guess take that personally, that I'm investing that time. But I may seem like the devil at first, or the devil's advocate. I'm really not. I really do invest myself in my students. So know that I like you. It's not that I don't. I am not the devil wears Prada incarnate. All right. Some other things. My contact info is posted on the front page of our course. It has my office hours in there. It has my cell phone number. I do allow you to text me. I'm one of those weird instructors. That's actually the fastest way to get a hold of me is to text me. You can email me. That's the slowest way to get a hold of me. Or you can post something in class, to our private conversation area. That's a fast way too. Course objectives are listed out each week with that week's materials, and you can find them there. I won't go through all of them because, it would be a snooze fest. We don't need to do that. Each week's readings and assignments, there are detailed out in each week on the course page. You just go there. It'll tell you what to read. You can download your ebook, or if you ordered a paperback book, you can look through that. Class policies and due dates. Late assignment policy is posted in the course announcements. Check it out there. Due dates are posted in the syllabus area or the assignments area. You can see when you need to do things. Participation in live sessions is completely optional. You're not required to attend. You're not required to participate. If you want to show up, you want to participate, great. If not, a recording will be available after the session. You can watch it. It's no big deal. If you have questions, you can just call me, or you can send me an email or send me a text message. Discussions and DQ participation. So this is where it gets tricky. So you have a discussion board. I post some discussion questions each week, and then you respond with your initial response, and then you respond to your classmates and to me throughout the week. So you need to do that on at least 3 different days. And if you're doing it on 3 different days, fantastic. But don't do it all in one day, because technically you need to meet attendance. So 3 different days out of the week. So if you're doing that, you need to take where's the end of the week and back up 3 days, and that's where your first post needs to be due. And I put those details in the class. They're part of the discussion prompt so that you don't forget what day to post them. That's why I have a date that you need to post by on there. It's so that you meet that 3 different days rule and don't get dinged for your attendance. It's not because I'm just really weird and picky. I don't want you to get dinged. Okay, so other than that, really important to note, tests cannot be turned in late. And tests, they may take you up to an hour. You may have technical issues with them. So really good idea, don't start them at 11 o'clock at night, the night they're due. Don't do that. Start them at least 8 o'clock at night. That way you have time to call technical support if you have problems. But don't call me if you have problems with technical problems with the test. Call technical support. I can't solve the problems. It's not that I'm not techie and don't like you. It's because I can't see in the back of the system what problems they're having. So if you have a problem with the test, call technical support. If you have a problem with a test question after you've taken the test, I'm all over that. Just post your question. I'm happy to answer it. Technical support's not going to be very much good with that. All right, next thing. So as we go through our class, you may feel the need to print out the slide or these signs and fashion them up around your house as kind of warnings to your family and friends. Things like caution, critical thinker under development and may spout off opinions without warning. We're going to talk about a lot of controversial topics in this class. They're going to get you heated. That's good. They're going to get you thinking. They're going to get you upset. They're going to get you happy. They're going to be like, yeah, I made my point. Ooh, I won somebody over. Dang it, how do I win that person over? You're going to say those things in this class. That's okay. You're probably going to try out your skills on your family and friends. That is very much needed, very much encouraged. Do that. But don't chase them off. Don't scare off your family and friends. That's what we're here for as a class, is to kind of tweak your skills so that you don't scare off your family and friends and coworkers. But I do encourage you to go into your real life, your everyday life, and use the skills that we're learning. That's the only way they're going to become real to you, the only way they're going to become second nature to you. So do go spout off your opinions and try out your new skills. Do see if somebody else can win you over. Do see if you can evaluate other people's arguments as we go. See if you can find out how to use these skills in the real world. That's when you'll really start to understand this class and appreciate what it can do for you. Plus, it's just a heck of a lot more interesting if you're using these things in the everyday world, because you'll bring that into our conversations, and then our class will get more colorful and more interesting, and that's what we really want. Who wants to take a boring class? Nobody. So let's make it interesting. All right, the other sign here says thinking. More than none will be required. Well, this is a critical thinking class, and you do have to think. I know, painful. I don't want to think, right? But you're getting a college degree. We probably should do some thinking at some point in time. So, you got to do more than none. I hope a lot more than none, but at least a little bit more than none. Now, the other thing is that you may find that this class is a huge challenge, and you may think it's just me challenging you and being difficult. If you feel that way, please reach out to me. As you can tell, I may be a little sarcastic, but I don't bite, and I actually am super invested in your personal success. Yes, you personally, I know all of my students by name. I know how you're doing in my classes. I am very invested in you succeeding personally, not just, getting through another class. So I would encourage you, if you're feeling like this class isn't for you, you're misunderstanding things, you're struggling, you just don't get it, you just hate me, whatever, you reach out to me, you take it up with me, we'll work through it. And hopefully by the end of the class, you'll decide this class was for me. This class is something I am totally good at. This class is something that I wish I would have been able to take right when I started college, although it probably would have scared most people. But you'll get my point by the end of the class. And hopefully by the end of the class, you're like, man, I wish that all of my instructors would challenge me like this one. I hope that you say that by the end of the class. That would be a huge compliment. But if you don't, that's okay too. So I look forward to working with each of you throughout this class, and I look forward to seeing your colorful and very motivated posts, because I think we're going to talk about things that you guys get passionate about, and that's always fun, and it's always interesting to see your journey throughout the class. It's always very gratifying for me. So come and join me on the discussion boards, and definitely start looking at your assignments. You'll want to get a head start on those, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for joining me.